insane. Crumbling towers, streets in flames, forgotten heroes, who knows their names? Broken futures, shattered dreams.
Hello, friends. This is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today is February 4th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. Just got done watching the Bibi Trump press conference there. They told a lot of lies there, of course. But the most striking thing to me concerning the United States is Trump said that the United States is going to take over the Gaza Strip there. And so full ethnic cleansing program is going on here now, saying that the Palestinians have no alternative but to leave that land or essentially be killed. Quite striking, let me tell you. So today we have a special guest on the line, Will Keller. We'll get to him in a minute as I go through this day in history. But quickly, we have Bill Gates went on The View today, so we have some clips from that. Of course, Bill Gates saving us from the crisis that he creates, and so we love that out of Bill Gates. A lot is going on, as everybody knows. Trump is keeping us busy, announcing the news. We had some confirmations today of Energy Secretary, of VA Secretary, and then it looks like Tulsi Gabbard and old Bobby Kennedy Jr. have moved on to the out of the committees into the full confirmation from the full Senate. So it's looking like they will be confirmed. What else do we got? Mostly Trump with his meeting here. The U.S. We struck in. We did another strike in Iraq, but they said Iraq helped us, so it's okay. We just kill people, without any charge. They're terrorists, you know what I mean? So hey, kill them. And so that came out of CENTCOM. So now what we have been bombing Iraq, Yemen, Somalia, Syria. Where's Congress? Who cares? Just kill them. They're terrorists. It's insane here now. A little bit of stock market news, economic news. Sad to say that Google or Alphabet, that their stock has fallen 7%. Kind of a large move. And they announced what went along with that. Did I miss it? It was somewhere here. They announced that, they are removing their principals, because you know how principled Google or Alphabet is of a company, right? It's not like they never banned half the internet and manipulate our search results. So for the honest company they're lifting the AI principles that they had in place. And so they're dropping weapon and surveillance bans use of Google AI. So we have that to look forward to as they build this technocratic prison for us. So all that, and as I said, Will Keller to get to as well. Let me blast through this day in history. On February 4th, going all the way back to 1657, Oliver Cromwell grants rights to English aardvarks. And so that was a big human rights move there in 1657. In 1783, we saw an earthquake in Italy killing 50,000 plus people. That's a lot of people killed by an earthquake. In 1789, George Washington was chosen president of these United States of America, and John Adams was his vice president. In 1794, French National Convention proclaims abolition of slavery. Kind of a big deal. In 1797, earthquake. Today's theme was the earthquakes killing a lot of people, tragically. In 1797, we saw an earthquake in Ecuador kill 41,000 people plus, quite horrific. In 1865, Robert E. Lee is named General-in-Chief of the Confederate Forces for the Civil War. In 1936, the first radioactive substance produced synthetically, radium-E. That doesn't sound very nice. In 1938, Hitler seizes control of the German army In 1941, the United Service Organization, or USO, is founded. In 1971, the NASDAQ, second largest stock exchange, is founded in New York City. In 1987, Congress overrides then President Ronald Reagan's veto of the Clean Water Act. In 1988, Manuel Noriega is indicted by a federal grand jury for drug trafficking and racketeering. In 1991, Pete Rose, the famous baseball player, was barred from baseball for betting on games while being a player and a manager. Now everybody's betting on everything. Legalized sports betting. In 1997, O.J. Simpson was found liable in a civil court case for the deaths of Ron Goldman and Nicole Simpson. In 1998, Bill Gates was hit in the face by a pie, and we have video of that to play during the show, famously. I'm sure people love and enjoy that moment. In 2004, Facebook launches from, and this is official history, right? But we know this is all made up, but Facebook launches from Mark Zuckerberg's Harvard dormitory room, allegedly the same day that LifeLog went offline for the CIA. And then, of course, we have, it seems like maybe not that long ago, I don't know. I cover so much news, it's hard to keep up with. But 2 years ago now, in 2023, Chinese surveillance balloon was shot down by a U.S. fighter over the eastern United States. If you remember the whole Chinese spy balloon debacle. So let me read Will Keller's bio here, and then we'll play a short musical intro, and we'll get right to it. Will Keller, who's gracious enough to join Weaponized News today, is a freedom activist, an animist, anarchist, public speaker, and father. Currently, Will is hosting a presentation series titled Will Tell Truth live show, and is co-creator of the Natural Freedom League video podcast, also a content creator for the One Great Work Network, and co-creator of the FUNL conferences, Freedom Under Natural Law conferences. Will is devoted and morally obligated to increase awareness on the causal factors of suffering for humanity and to expand the understanding of the current human condition by educating the public on critical topics such as conscious parenting, human psychology, objective morality, natural rights, and natural law. All of these topics are inseparable for understanding and achieving true freedom for humanity. And so we're going to get right to Will here. Here's this new artist who was supposedly banned, Aya May. She's out of Australia, and this is her remix or retake of Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. It's about a minute. And then we'll get right to Will.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, a world full of pain, a ceasefire prayed for, red flames for the angels, the truth from a tale. Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your borders for votes? A court system weaponized and fear stories televised, retweet, post it, monetize. Did you exchange your freedom, rights, and your choice for a lead role
Well, how you doing this Tuesday?
I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Will. Um, so, like I said at the beginning, well, we'll get to that. Let's play to honor the day. When was it? Back in 1998. Let's play this short clip of Bill Gates getting the pie in the face. Sadly, report out of who's the CBS News. It's a very sad day for humanity.
Police and security guards in Belgium were caught flat-footed today by a cowardly sneak attack on one of the world's wealthiest men. The target was Microsoft chairman Bill Gates, arriving for a meeting with community leaders. Watch what happens when a team of hitmen meet him first with a pie in the face. Gates was momentarily and understandably shaken, but he was not injured. The hit squad piled on with two more pies before one of them was wrestled to the ground and arrested. The others, for at least the moment, got away. Gates went inside, wiped his face clean, and made no comment. He then went ahead with his scheduled meeting. No word on the motive for this attack.
And
That's great. I could watch that at any time. We need to start throwing ropes around instead of pies, in my opinion.
Bill Gates, now the current Bill Gates, that was 1998. The current Bill Gates went on The View today, and he's warning us about the next pandemics to come down. So let's watch a couple clips here. And he's also worried about USAID funding maybe getting cut off to his organization. Let's watch a couple clips from Bill Gates on The View. Of course, everybody's fake doctor during the fake pandemic. Here's Bill Gates on The View today.
Before COVID, you say you spent the most sleepless nights worrying about pandemics. After COVID, has that changed? And if it has, what keeps you up now? Because we all need to know.
Yeah, the pandemic, sadly, was fairly predictable, and it won't be the last pandemic. The next one could be far more severe. I mean, this one, it killed millions. It was awful. We got the vaccine. Actually, President Trump's leadership was a factor in getting that out quickly. And so when I spoke to him, I said, okay, here's some other medical innovations, including a thing called an HIV cure that could be accelerated. So, we should be more prepared, both for a pandemic. I'd say that's still number one. You can worry about nuclear war. You can worry about AI.
This
There's
sounds like fun.
plenty to worry about. But
do you
overall,
sleep
I'm
at
an
all?
optimist.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's up to the government to think ahead on behalf of the citizens.
Yes.
So, pandemic, there's a lot that we should be doing that hopefully we'll get our act together before the next one comes. Overall, the innovation in health, both in the developing countries, the rich world, I love being part of that.
I was reading, though, that you said the next pandemic you are predicting within maybe 25 years. Is that
Certainly
accurate?
we'll have one in the next 25 years. There's even some pathogens out there that we're watching over right now. So maybe 10% chance in the next 4 years.
What do you think of that, Will?
He's a puppet. He's just doing what he's doing. It's interesting. He's still playing the same tune that he's been playing the last, few years. And this is all a fear game. It's all about controlling perception 100%. They'll keep playing that angle because it works. It works for people. And unfortunately, it gets a reaction, and among other things as well. So it's keeping people in limbo and just keeping them in that fear state.
Another clip from Bill Gates today. He's a little bit worried about USAID losing some funding for his operations there in public health.
Mr. Gates, you also called Elon Musk's political influence abroad, quote, insane, along with another word we can't repeat here. But what's your take on his political access and influence here in America right now?
Well, Elon, his private sector work, has been very innovative, really fantastic. A lot of private sector people, when they get into government, they don't take the time necessarily to see what the good work is or why it's structured the way it is. So I'm a little worried, particularly with this USAID stuff. My foundation partners with USAID on nutrition and getting vaccines out. And, there's incredible people. They're not actually worms that work there. So, hopefully we'll get some of that work back in shape. In fact, if we don't, you could have literally millions of deaths. So, with aid, people think, wow, how much do we give these countries? As you said, it's less than 1%. People think it's 5%, and it should be 2%, but it's actually under 1%.
Wow.
Yep, the chat it had me cracking up. Somebody grab a pie, and we need to see a lot more of that.
Here's some sad news today, Will, that we're learning out of the EU. EU approves use of insect powder in foods. Starting February 10th, the European Union has passed a regulation allowing the inclusion of up to 4% UV-treated mealworm powder in various food products like bread, cheese, jams, and pasta.
And they're probably already implementing that, right? They kind of spoon feed the public certain ideologies, certain concepts, certain information to kind of control narratives. But these people do what they want.
This move is part of a broader trend towards incorporating insect proteins into human diets for sustainability reasons. Isn't that what the World Economic Forum told us? You will eat the bugs, and it looks like they're doing it. Okay, last part. I guess it's called public health. Last clip from the public health section. Good old Elizabeth Warren, who's taken over $1 million from the same companies that she's essentially lobbying for as a U.S. senator. I thought she represented the people, but apparently I was mistaken. She's representing corporate interests here. Let's watch this short clip where she's outraged at Bobby Kennedy Jr. because he may be questioning their miracles here. So here's a short clip from her. I think this was 2 days ago.
Stated, this is not only about a private company that gets sued and has to pay out. Vaccine manufacturers often operate on very slim profit margins. If they get sued repeatedly and successfully, they simply move out of the vaccine space. We've already seen this happen with vaccines in the past. 20 years ago, we watched vaccines just move away if they did not have protection from these kinds of lawsuits. The consequence of Mr. Kennedy's ability to make those lawsuits easier is also the ability to shut down access and manufacturing for vaccines for every one of us. And I think that's stated.
So we have to take care, forget about the people that may have a legitimate claim against these companies for injuries and death. We have to protect the miracle manufacturers first and foremost, Will.
Yeah, it's interesting. She says that the manufacturers work on a very thin profit margin. Like, wow.
I feel bad for them. How are they gonna be able to put food on their table? Okay, we're done with that section. Hopefully, we didn't get banned. I don't know. They said it, not me. But okay, on to the short section here on the wildfires. They're not even wildfires. There are some fires. What do you think about what all went on in LA over the last 3 weeks with these insane fires?
It's horrible for the people that had to go through that. But I mean, it's clear that there was some kind of agenda. It was a planned operation for sure. Whether the the details of the vector of that operation are still yet to kind of be revealed. But I mean, there's no coincidences, right? Everything is cause and effect. So when you have the reservoirs drained, the fire hydrants aren't working, the fire department is, incompetent, et cetera, people lighting fires and stuff. I mean, Smart Cities 2028 coming out with their pamphlet. It's like, when you dive into that pamphlet, it doesn't say anything about what they're going to do with the current occupants and the residents that are actually in that area. So I'm in Northern California myself, so I've been through similar fires up here with Paradise and Santa Rosa. We see similarities, and it is unfortunate, but this is how the dark occultists, they do things. They run these certain type of events, and people won't talk about it in the next weeks to come. It'll be on to the next thing, unfortunately.
On to the next current thing. We're witnessing ethnic cleansing right here in California. And that seems to be the theme of all these dark occultists, like you say, is to carry out these ethnic cleansing programs. Again, everybody go to the Duke Report. Of course, Peter Duke. Peter Duke, I don't know if you're familiar with him. Anyway, he's an independent journalist, reporter. He had his house burned down there. He lived in the Pacific Palisades, and I've been following his reporting on it, and he's calling them all out about it, saying they burned his house down, and he's really upset because the narrative out there, or the language they're using, is wildfires. The I can never pronounce that word. How do you pronounce that, Will? The origin of words?
The etymology.
Etymology, there you go. And so he's talking about here in an article that he posted on the X. He's talking about Pacific Palisades fire was deliberate act of arson and war against the citizens of California, referring to a coordinated shutdown by the power department and water department meant to deprive the LA Fire Department of water to combat the fire, like you said, as we continue to cover here, along with labeling an arson attack as wildfire. And he says this term is a form of psychological warfare inflicted by our oligarch rulers on an uninformed public. And so
that's right.
I think he's and he also put out a Substack I wanted to plug real quick for a deeper dive on that. And like I was saying, if you want to support the victims, go directly to Peter Duke on his Substack account here, and he does the deep dive on Roman epistemological. I still can't pronounce it right.
Epistemological. Yep.
Epistemological warfare again, and he goes all the way back to the Greeks, but brings it to current day about how they're doing it. So if you want to support victims, you're feeling charitable of the LA fires, don't give to their any of their mainstream charities. Go directly to Peter Duke. We know that his house burned down, his family's house burned down there, and give to him. But definitely go read this. It's a long article. I don't have time to go through it, obviously, on the show, but maybe we'll circle back and dig into it deeper. But right here, a deep dive into that, how they're waging this psychological war against us with language. And so they indeed are doing that. Okay, so we said Trump's doing a lot of bad things. Here's a good thing I think he's doing. He's talking about our high-speed rail right here in California. Let's watch this clip from Trump today. What are the feds gonna uncover if they do a real investigation into high-speed rail here in California? Let's watch this short clip from Trump today.
One of the things I want to investigate rapidly, because I've never seen anything to this extent, the train that's being built between Los Angeles and San Francisco is the worst managed project I think I've ever seen, and I've seen some of the worst. Billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars over budget. In fact, I read where you could take every single person that was going to go on the train and get the finest limousine service in the world and take them back and forth with limousines, and you'd have hundreds of billions of dollars left over. It is the worst thing, and we're going to start an investigation of that because it's not possible. I built for a living, and I built on time, on budget. It's impossible that something could cost that much. And now it's not even going to San Francisco, and it's not going to Los Angeles. They made it much shorter. So now it's at little places way away from San Francisco and way away from Los Angeles. No, we're going to start a big investigation on that because I've never seen anything like it. Nobody has ever seen anything like it. The worst overruns that there have ever been in the history of our country.
What are we going to find if the feds do a real investigation into the state of California high-speed rail project? So much corruption that it's like it's literally off the rails of the level of corruption on this thing. And people don't understand. I live right by not right by it, but right in Fresno here. And we literally have a monument to corruption. The bridge over the San Joaquin River, they built a bridge that doesn't have rebar in it, that at some point in time will have to be torn down because the concrete doesn't have rebar in it, but it's built there and it just stops, right? And so I haven't driven by it in a while because I haven't went that far west, but you drive by it, and the job now of the city, whoever's managing the state, I guess, is there's all this graffiti all over it. And so the gangsters, the graffiti artists, they go and graffiti it up, and then they go and paint it over, and then the next week it's graffitied up again. And so it's just this blight now, and it's a monument to corruption here. It's quite a sight to see, Will.
Yeah, no shocker for, the state and how it operates. It's like that all over California, especially in my area, all around the Bay Area. That's how government operates, right? It doesn't do anything efficiently. It just steals money and it lines its own pockets. It's a corrupt system for sure.
More about the corruption of California, and then I think we'll move on to the next section. California, University of California system sued over admissions bias against Asian and white students. A student group named Students Against Racial Discrimination filed a lawsuit against the University of California system yesterday, alleging racial discrimination in admissions by favoring Black and Hispanic applicants over Asian and white applicants. The lawsuit claims that despite California's constitutional requirement of color blindness, the UC system has been using racial preferences in its admissions processes, which contradicts federal and state anti-discrimination laws. We're like, everything is exactly backwards and opposite in California, and they whole time virtue signal like they're the good people doing the right thing, progressing, they tell us, Will.
Yeah, exactly. It's inverted. It's all about polarizing dialectics. I mean, you see now that, Trump's the president in office. There's a lot of going backwards on the DEI. Corporations are coming out and getting rid of that kind of stuff too. It's always a balancing to one extreme or the other, and it keeps people in misdirection. It keeps them in anxiety and in a state of fear for sure.
Trump's offering Trump's buyout offer accepted by 20,000 federal employees. Do you think that my fear? We know the federal government's corrupt beyond imagination. Something needed to be done, but is the replacement, which is potentially AI, going to be even worse than the corrupt system that we have now? But something had to be done. So Trump offered a buyout or be fired to a bunch of these federal employees who didn't even show up to work. Like 6% of the workers showed up to work, and like 4% were janitors and security. So like basically 2% of the federal workforce showed up to their offices to actually work. And so these people were sitting at home collecting fat paychecks, fat pension plans, fat benefits, all this stuff. And so something had to give, and it is giving now. Do you think it's going to be worse or better, or what do you think about this, the downsizing of the federal government?
Well, I'm an abolitionist, so
You want no government at all.
absolutely no governance. There's only one legitimate government, and that's self-governance. You cannot abdicate rights that you yourself do not have. Everything would function on a local level. And of course, and this is how it is in nature, in truth, and in reality. And that's, that's the whole mission of my work, is getting people to recognize that the religious, false axiom of the belief in human authority is completely immoral and illegitimate, and it's the cause of human suffering. So having any type of authority that can rule over other people, not just people, but the land, animals, the planet itself. It's all encompassing. This is the stem of the problem. So yeah, I think the complete eradication of government and state, federal and state.
Well, I think we're going to wind up getting AI instead of people.
Well, I'll say this too. What I think is going on in this time period, it's a transitional time, meaning, for instance, maybe hundreds and hundreds of years ago, the dominant status was kingship or queenship. Sure, we still have that in countries still, but then it moved to more classical government, like what we have here in America, and quote unquote democracy, right? Which is just mob rule. We're going to see that. We are seeing that transition into that technocratic state where absolutely AI is going to be that infrastructure that's going to, oversee and function with this corporatocracy. But absolutely 100% behind all of that is these, psychopathic, parasitic, dark occultists, for sure. And this is just a transitional period. Once the slaves start getting restless, you have to switch it up, right? So it is just an illusion of change. It's an illusion of choice, and they're still going to be having that control and power.
Here's Elon Musk changed his X bio to White House tech support. So he's shaking things up. You'd see it right there. Is this just a battle between the technocratic oligarchs, Elon Musk and Bill Gates, for example, of two of them?
Well, I think they're always going to play on that dialectic, right? There's going to be the extreme sides, the
good
left
cop,
and
bad
the right.
cop, right?
Absolutely. That's been going on for thousands of years. They're going to keep playing that even into the future as well. But transitioning into a new type of system, yeah, you're going to have resistance from the other side. So, even looking at it now, I have family members and friends that are saying they're living in a complete nightmare right now because Trump is in office. And then you have, on the extreme polarity, you have Trump's the savior. America's now entering into a golden age, right? So you always are going to have these extremes, and they're going to play on that for their benefit.
We're bombing. It was announced by CENTCOM that we're bombing Iraq. 5 ISIS operatives killed in Iraqi precision airstrike enabled by CENTCOM forces. So we're bombing the hell, and we just indiscriminately bomb the whole Middle East here now. It's quite a sight to behold. And that is my segue to the Trump. Listen to this question, because Bibi Netanyahu, some say, I say, our shadow president here, and Trump had a big press conference today. Let's listen to him. The reporter asked the question there at the press conference about the United States is going to take the land of the Gaza Strip.
Kelly, go ahead.
You are outlining something that is really quite striking tonight. You are talking about Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister. You are talking tonight about the United States taking over a sovereign territory. What authority would allow you to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation there, redevelopment? And Mr. Prime Minister, do you see this idea as a way to expand the boundaries of Israel and to have a longer peace, even though the Israeli people know how important that land is to you and your citizens, just as the space is inherited by the Palestinians as well?
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. And everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area that nobody would know. Nobody can look because all they see is death and destruction and rubble and demolished buildings falling all over. It's just a terrible sight. I've studied it. I've studied this very closely over a lot of months, and I've seen it from every different angle. And it's a very, very dangerous place to be, and it's only going to get worse. And I think this is an idea that's gotten tremendous, and I'm talking about from the highest level of leadership, gotten tremendous praise. And if the United States can help to bring stability and peace in the Middle East, we'll do that. Bibi?
Sound like he said baby at the end of that. Baby, onto you. So many euphemisms and gaslighting, right? It's ultimately what the government, how it operates. It's a narcissist.
They he just admitted genocide right there. He won't say genocide, but that's what they're doing. And then now he's saying ethnic cleansing. You're going to leave. We're taking the Gaza Strip here now. Is it going to be U.S. territory? I don't understand how any of this is going to work, but they're going to do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Here's a photo today, proudly, and of course of Netanyahu, Musk, and Netanyahu's son, who doesn't serve in the Aardvark military over there carrying out the actions. He's actually over here in the United States. And so here's a photo that they proudly posted today of the three of them. And so that's always good to see them all smiling there. Here is, let's see, we got some more clips of Trump. This is kind of crazy. Trump's, and would they, I think they would they assassinate Trump to start a war with Iran? Listen to what Trump had to say about if Iran allegedly tried to assassinate him. He says plans are already in the work to obliterate Iran. And so would they assassinate Trump to go to war with Iran?
It's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani.
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do, not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why, lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader, or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran.
Is he setting himself up? Yeah, is he setting himself up? It is crazy, man. Trump says Palestinians have no alternative. Here's where he's talking about nonchalantly the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians here. But it's not that, right?
Press for this idea that Jordan and Egypt can take Palestinians from Gaza.
Yeah, I would like to see Jordan. I'd like to see Egypt take some look. The Gaza thing has not worked. It's never worked. And I feel very differently about Gaza than a lot of people. I think they should get a good, fresh, beautiful piece of land, and we get some people to put up the money to build it and make it nice and make it habitable and enjoyable and make it a home.
They don't want to leave, though. Palestinians say they don't want to leave.
I don't know how they could want to stay. It's a demolition site. It's a pure demolition site. If we could find the right piece of land or numerous pieces of land and build them some really nice places with plenty of money in the area, that's for sure, I think that would be a lot better than going back to Gaza, which has had just decades and decades of death.
Where would those pieces of land be?
Well, they
Those
could
Arab
be in
countries
Jordan,
don't want
and they
to.
could be in Egypt, and they could be in other places. You could have more than two, more than one, but you could have more than two. And you'd have people living in a place that could be very beautiful and safe and nice. Gaza's been a disaster for decades.
Would the U.S. pay for that?
I don't think
contribute?
I don't
Would the
think the
United States
UN would
contribute?
pay, but I think there's plenty of people that would in the area. They have a lot of money. They certainly have a lot of money. Some of the countries over there, they'd like to see it. I know that Saudi Arabia wants to see peace. I can see that. And many of the countries there, as far as I'm concerned, they all want peace. I think, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think Iran would like to see peace too. They've had enough. Don't you think they've had enough?
But the leaders of Egypt and Jordan have said bluntly they have no interest in doing this.
Well, they may have said that, but a lot of people said things to me. They said they wouldn't take anybody back in Venezuela, and right now they're flying them right back into Venezuela. And a lot of people, and they're doing the right thing in Venezuela. The Panama Canal is an active discussion right now. They said things about that, and virtually everything that's been said has been incorrectly stated based on the result.
Doesn't that amount to forcibly displacing? Wouldn't that amount to forcibly displacing those people from Gaza?
I don't think so. I think if they had the opportunity, they'd love it. If they had an alternative to Gaza, they have no alternative right now. I mean, they're there because they have no alternative. What do they have? It is a big pile of rubble right now. I mean, have you seen the pictures of it? Have you been there? It's terrible.
They're genociding them. Just say it, Trump. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yep. Exactly. Just trying to be the savior. It's sad. It's sad for all the people over there. But how, charismatic he can say, oh, we'll just move them to somewhere nice. Like he's going to put them up in the Trump Hotel or something, right? It's like this is this people's land. And the genocide has been going on for many, many years. But there's objective agendas that doesn't matter who's in office in America. They just keep moving forward, keep connecting those dots, right? This is advanced chess.
Let me just throw up the headline here real quick. No alternative. Palestinians have no alternative. So, and I don't know if we heard it there, but at the press conference, he said, if they don't do what we say, we're going to get violent, is what he said. There's so much to cover, but I'm sure that'll be clipped out. But he was very explicit about it. He didn't directly threaten them with killing them, but he said, we're going to get very violent if they don't do what we say. And I was like, damn, man.
That's exactly what they'll do, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, we covered a lot of news here. I wanted quickly, I want to get your take on this. This is pretty scary. Over there in El Salvador, they have these supermax prisons. And let me put it on the screen so everybody can see what the president there, Bukele, said. He said, we have offered the United States of America the opportunity to outsource part of its prison system. We are willing to take in only convicted criminals, including convicted U.S. citizens, in our mega prison in exchange for a fee. The fee would be relatively low for the U.S., but significant for us, making our entire prison system sustainable. And so what about, I thought you had rights here in the United States, but apparently not. I would not want to go to that prison in El Salvador.
That's a straight business deal, right? We all know the prison system is privately orchestrated, and that's just a straight business deal, 100%.
Here's some images of it from the aerial shots. Looks very nice. Maybe the Palestinians can go there. Wow. And so I thought we had rights even as convicts, but apparently maybe not. I don't know. Pretty scary. The first flights from the United States to Guantanamo Bay with illegal migrants are underway. Let's watch this short clip. This is crazy stuff that they're doing here now.
Around, and he's no longer going to allow America to be a dumping ground for illegal criminals from nations all over this world. And so El Salvador has not just agreed to the repatriation of their own citizens, but also illegal criminals from other nations who will then be sent to their prisons. Venezuela as well has agreed to repatriation flights, and Colombia also agreed to cooperate with the repatriation of illegal Colombian nationals that we have found in the interior of our country. And I can also confirm that today, the first flights from the United States to Guantanamo Bay with illegal migrants are underway.
They didn't waste any time doing that, right?
They didn't. That was the first thing that they did. The stuff's getting wild, man. Alphabet, Google, or Alphabet, the holding company, stock price fell 7%. We could see the chart here falling off the map. Maybe it was on the news. When massive drop, and when this stuff happens, it makes me think that it's insider trading, pump and dumps, but maybe not pump and dump for a big stock like that, but at least somebody knew, and big drop, big sell off there. Possibly on the news that their AI is going to be, well, they took off the restrictions that won't be used for war anymore, weapons and surveillance. And so we have that to look forward to out of Google. Google amends AI principles, drops weapon and surveillance ban. And that was just, we knew that was coming, right?
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. So much going on. It's mind blowing.
Cryptos real quick, and then we'll get into some other stuff. I think this is good. Senators propose 10% credit card rate cap. Josh Hawley and Bernie Sanders have introduced bipartisan legislation to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. And so that's a lot of people are in that predicament with the horrible economy that created with the medical intervention shutting down the economy essentially. And so a lot of people had no other choice but to go into credit card debt to try to survive. And these credit card companies are horrific with like 25% interest plus, even higher than that. A lot of them literally killing people. So putting them in those chains of debt slavery, Will.
That's right. Absolutely. Rigged game from the start. And it's unfortunate. People are in some really bad situations.
Crypto, a little crypto news. SEC unveils crypto task force website. The Securities and Exchange Commission has launched a new crypto website aimed at providing regulatory clarity on cryptocurrency laws. And then this guy's the new crypto czar, David Sachs. David Sachs, known as Trump's crypto czar, has publicly advocated for NFTs and meme coins to be classified as collectibles rather than securities or commodities. And so they've selectively enforced, that is the Justice Department, and went after people they don't like. We've seen in the crypto space, particularly like freedom, libertarian kind of guys, and really went after them hard. And so this is needed. And so maybe, hopefully they're not going to be going after people the way they have, but they did, he did pardon Ross Ulbricht, but there's a lot of other people out there. Roger Ver, a bunch of other people. I forget all the names off the top of my head, but that are caught up in the in between of, is it a security? Did you commit a crime in the trading of these commodities known as cryptocurrencies? And the federal government just throws the book at them and is prosecuting them right now. So I think this is needed for people in the crypto space there, Will.
Yeah, the crypto space. I mean, it had huge potential. I don't think the awareness and the consciousness was there, years ago, and really to seek that opportunity of full-on decentralization. So of course, the government stepped in and then they're getting their greedy, dirty little hands involved. So you definitely got to educate yourself. A lot of people get caught up and snagged in some of that friction. So it would be good to see some positive effects from that.
I think the time to get rich in crypto's over now, essentially. It was Wild West before the regulations coming in here now, and then they did selectively enforce these gray type laws on people that the big dogs that they disagreed with, that they wanted to go after. And so now it feels like they really are cracking down. And so there is going to be no in between. You're going to have to report your crypto on your tax return and so on. And they're clamping down, and it's going to be highly regulated and controlled. So it seems like the end of crypto space freedom here now. But on the flip side, at least it will be, they'll still probably selectively enforce it on people they don't like. But at least we're going to have some type of regulatory framework to go by, and hopefully not run afoul of the law and be locked up for this stuff. But it looks like the Wild West days of crypto are over.
There's always going to be a crypto black market, for sure, as long as moral anarchists are still around, for sure.
True. There will be people fighting for that freedom. Okay. I think that's all we got for the news. I didn't cover half of it, but I wanted to get to you now, Will, and tell us. Well, quickly, let's go to, let's see some comments here. We do have, we got a lot of comments on the YouTube, our regular crowd there. Thank you guys for joining us here. I don't know what they're doing on YouTube. Paired, I don't even know what that means. Would you have a clip on Bill starting back in 2020 and his plan? I don't know, somewhere. Would you have a clip on Bill starting back in 2020 and his plan for 2025 mass destruction of the population? I don't know. Yeah, there's clips all over the place. Just search his CO2 TED Talk. It's in his TED Talks. It's all over the place. I don't have that clip queued up to play.
It's available though.
Yeah. Just search Bill Gates TED Talks, and you can find it on YouTube right there. What else do we got from? Let's see. Our regular crowd. Thank you guys for keeping the chat lively on the YouTube. I don't know what paired means. Oh, that's from
my channel. Yeah,
that's from your channel. I see. Okay, good job. You got a guy, Nick Haslam, says, "Yo, what's up?"
I know, Nick. Thanks for joining, brother.
We got Ruckus and Barry, of course, our unpaid co-producers here that are helping us manage all of our channels and keeping the chats lively. You gentlemen are appreciated. Regular viewers and unpaid co-producers of Weaponized News here, and so much appreciated from those gentlemen in the audience tonight with us. Just trying to pick out something in particular. But thank you, Will, also for sharing on your channel and pairing us. That helps spread the word here.
Absolutely, get some new eyes from my side. Anybody that follows my work over to your great show. So.
Thank you, Will, for that. Let's go now to, with Barry's permission, I'm going to read a personal email that he sent about his Barry. And don't you guys start throwing chairs and want to beat him up and all this stuff. and started calling him all these bad names. But turns out Barry has shared this personal story of his journey here, spiritual journey with us, and he's given me permission to read it. Barry was a Freemason in the early 90s, he said, and he found Jesus in 2003, and he faced a spiritual battle after. Well, let me read directly from the email. Barry says, it freaks some people out that I was a Mason in the early 90s when I was young, so I don't talk about it much. When I found Jesus in 2003, I was already long of it. 5 years, or I was already out of it. I was already long out of it. 5 years, but as I studied the Bible and such, I realized I had to fully come out and renounce masonry, and all the idolatry, etc., attached to it. So there is a long story to it. But when I went on a retreat by myself for 3 days camping and did it alone with God, fasting, etc., came under spiritual attacks, confirmed through prophetic intervention later on when I was on a full week-long retreat at Jacob's Well, an hour west of me. And when I gave my gold fringe apron to my pastor, 30 minutes later was under various spiritual attacks again, and the devil did not like that. And so what do you think about that, Will? Should we bash all the Freemasons? Like, what do you think about all this? Because they are a big part of the occult and the controlling power structure that the dark occultists use to do all these backroom deals, secret society type of stuff out of public eye. And that's how a lot of the big pieces get moved around. And then, so what do you think about all this?
Yeah, so I think there's twofold. Being a student of occultism and hidden knowledge and studying a lot of the mystery traditions. Freemasonry is one of many mystery traditions. It's, extremely, probably the most well-known to people, but there's definitely some ignorance around what it is as well. Sure, you have the lodge system. Well, first let's go back and talk about what Freemasonry ultimately is. It is the study and the application of natural law, of the unseen forces, of consciousness and human evolution, right? So it is the study of hidden knowledge, right? But how you use that knowledge is what makes Freemasonry or any other mystery tradition light masonry or dark masonry, light thelema or dark thelema, right? It's how you use it. Are you using it within your own spiritual development and evolution to morality and in harmony with nature, or are you using it in the satanic sense as the selfish sense to get a leg up over your fellow human beings, an immoral application of hidden knowledge itself? When you look at kind of the conspiratorial realms, people are always saying, oh, it's the Masons, it's the Masons. Sure, you could track Masonry all throughout history, going back, even way before the establishment of America, absolutely. But it goes a lot deeper than that and a lot further beyond Masonry, the lodge system. So having someone Barry in the letter, that's excellent that you, I think that's great. That's a positive thing that you don't actually need the lodge system anymore. You turned in your apron, because ultimately we are on this journey on an individual level, and there's no arbiter between you, God, nature, the creative supreme mind. That accountability and responsibility is up to us alone to do the work. So when you hear people saying that it is the Masons that are pulling the strings, it's pretty far from the truth, because that is a broad topic, right? So sure, Freemasonry, but what's the context of the information within Freemasonry? And that's where when you go deep enough, you understand it's about morality. It's about the governing dynamics on how to manifest change and how to function as a human being in the psychological realms. This is where that information it lies. And the people behind the veil, the social engineers, they are dark occultists. Sure, they might use Freemasonry, they might use Rosicrucian, they might use Thelema, they might use all different types of applications, and these are just kind of gears that one can use within your own journey. Ultimately, it's all one type of mentality, and that's what me and other researchers call Satanism, not a Christian, diversion of Satan. It is a mindset of me, me, me. It's straight solipsism and egotism, and it's about control.
Will, I was going to ask you about
Sure.
this. I understand it's the mindset, but it looks like they're also used the Hollywood version, just call it, of dressing up and all this, looking evil, say goth, whatever, also as part of cults to mind control people and send them out to do evil missions, to do murders, rapes, and all these crimes. But that's not actually, the real guys are wearing the suits, right? Suit and ties and looking like Trump and Netanyahu. But they use these little subsects of people under mind control. They're into the Hollywood version.
Sure.
Am I explaining that right? Am I thinking right about that?
That's absolutely an aspect of it, for sure. It's full spectrum. You can have doctors, lawyers, teachers in there, and you can also have the application of the dark arts, where something like MK Ultra or the Montauk Project, you can have people that are doing horrific, rituals, etc. But we need to step out of that box and expand our awareness. I see the military-industrial complex. That is the application of the dark arts. These people that are bombing and killing, hundreds of thousands of people. So it's not just what the Hollywood variant is trying to perceive. That's just what they want the majority of people to think it is. So, but it absolutely is an aspect of it.
You think that's why they're constantly showing us all the symbolism, the one eye, the covered eye, all this stuff, and people put it together and see and say, well, look, there are all the music industry, all these different entertainment industries, music, sports, movies, all this stuff, and show all these famous actors and people in that doing all the symbolism. Do you think they even know? Are they trying to use this for some kind of power? Or are they just dupes behind and following whatever the cameraman is saying? Because they always say, well, they're doing this symbol or they're doing some type of hidden symbol. I'm like, well, that could also be that when people are out public speaking and whatnot, they're taught to do something with their hands so they're not fidgeting. And you're standing in front of a bunch of people with a group, I know people are trained, do something with your hands so you're not fidgeting. And what do you think of all that? I guess my question is, are they legitimately doing that for some type of power, or do you think some of it is actually just coincidence and not part of conspiracy?
I think it's all of the above, right? Just in, Freemasonry, there's levels of awareness in the lodge system itself. Same thing applies in the real world. I would say, the majority of actors or musicians, they're at a photo shoot. Absolutely, the cameraman is saying, okay, give me a photo with your hand over your eye, trying to do something, and they're just stupid dupes and they're puppets. And that goes all the way up to the president, in my opinion, being just useful puppets with limited awareness. And then there's some that are, objectively and consciously using symbols and mannerisms to tell the public subconsciously, I own you. We are in control. This is what symbols do. It speaks to the subconscious and it speaks volumes. So I think it's the full spectrum. It's not just one piece of it.
Are they truly gaining power by the rituals they conduct? It feels like they are in power. So to me, it feels like they know what they're doing and they are gaining power and being able to stay in power through the rituals that they're conducting, mass, like the Super Bowl's coming up this weekend, right? We know at the Super Bowl halftime show, they're going to do some kind of crazy occult ritual there. That's just what they do. Do you think that, as one example, on the Grammys, I don't even watch any of this stuff, but I see it, people post clips about it. Do you think they're really, and I always say on this show, I don't believe in this stuff, but I believe they believe in it. And so for me, I guess my question is, do you think they're really gaining power out of conducting these mass rituals?
I don't believe it. I know they do. Because everything in reality, in existence, is about the influence of energy. We are doing, we are influencing energy right now with the viewers watching. So we have to demystify. And this is where the knowledge and the education of the occult is vital. It is crucial that people understand that it's not just candles in the forest in a pentagram and sacrificing an animal, spreading blood in a certain way. No, it is the Super Bowl where you have hundreds and thousands and millions of eyes and attention and focus. It's something like 9/11 that can drastically shift the climate of the planet, right? So it is the interaction and movement of energy itself. We all perform rituals every day. A ritual is our habits. It can be micro or macro. What do you do when you get up in the morning? Do you have a morning ritual? Do you have an evening ritual? And then there's the big events, it could be a celebration, a birthday, an anniversary. Those are all rituals as well. It all depends on the context and what is the effect that it has on you, your surrounding environment, and other people.
I think you did a good job of demystifying and explaining it very well.
Thank you. That's my goal in my work, is to simplify the profound, take these obscure, deep topics and break them down in kind of layman's terms so we can understand. So rituals are an everyday thing. I mean, just look at the police and military. It's a constant ritual for the social engineers, where they go out and they pull people over and they extort them, and they put fear into the minds of people. The mainstream media every day, 5 o'clock, the morning news. These are all rituals that have profound effects on the consciousness and awareness of individuals.
Barry saying, cut to the RFK Trump handshake and text out in the open. How about that question? I don't have that queued up, Barry. Sorry. We will. But do you believe all these guys that we see in the public eye, they're all part of secret societies, and they all do the secret handshakes and winks and nods in this, and are playing a bigger game on everybody? Is there anyone genuine in a position of power that may affect change, I guess, is also a part of my question. Or can we just take the black pill now?
Well, I'll say too, I mean, at least it depends on the context and the condition, right? But I mean, you look at these huge influencers nowadays. What are they talking about? What's their overarching message? That's what I look at. Some people, it could be an Alex Jones, it can be RFK. He might say something good. He might say something correct and truthful. Sure, you can take pieces of that. But what in its totality, what does he stand for? What is his message? 99% of people out there are controlled opposition. I'm not saying that they are agents of the state. I'm saying that their level of awareness is misdirecting people. That's what it comes down to, through their message itself, because they're not talking about causal factors. They're not talking about natural law, the governing dynamics that create change. Most of them are in this mindset and state of mind of the belief in human authority, where they advocate for the state. They advocate for slavery itself. So it depends on the conditioning, and the condition and the context of what they are about. But I mean, absolutely, if they're on TV and they're well known, you definitely can be sure that there's a reason for that, for people's perception.
It's that controlled.
That's what they want. They want to control the availability of information. They want to control people's perception, and that's why they have the polarizing dialectic, two false extremes. They don't want people stepping out of those two false extremes and actually diving into a correct diagnosis, the root of the problem, the causal factors on what really is going on, which always stems back to the mind and psychology and action, because now you're out of their game. It's like kicking the chessboard over and say, no, I'm not playing this with you. That's where they don't want people to go.
Tell us about objective morality. Well, how can we objectively be moral?
Great question. Let's define morality. Morality is the difference between right action and wrong action, right? Meaning that there is a difference. When I say this term morality, the majority of people, they immediately go to religion. And objective morality has nothing to do with religion, does not come from any type of religion whatsoever. It is inherent in nature. It's inherent in existence because us as individuals, we do exist. So what is a right? We can understand that by talking about what a wrongdoing is. We can simplify it because there's an unlimited amount of rights that one can perform in reality, but there's only a few wrongdoings. So the definition of what a right is, it's any action that does not initiate harm to another sentient being, meaning we do not steal their life, property, we don't coerce them, we don't murder them, anything. All of that comes down to a taking of something that is not yours. That's what the rights come down to. So, and that is objective in nature. It's not based on perception. It's not saying, oh, well, in my religion or my culture, it's okay to rape a woman. Nope. It's objectively wrong because you are taking something that isn't yours and consent was not involved. When you understand this simple, truthful concept in truth, and then you apply it to the world, you can apply it to government itself. Where does a person that's claiming to be in a position of authority, a ruler over other people, where do they get the right to do that? They don't. It's made up. It's perceived power. So once you get to that reasoning and understand that, then you know that government itself is illegitimate and it's immoral and it should not exist whatsoever. It's just the problem is the majority of people are ignorant to what is right and what is wrong. So they believe that human beings need to have some type of control structure, and they give government power.
Well, the argument is that if we don't have these men with guns, then some other men with guns who we don't allegedly control are going to come along, and then they'll be the ones in charge.
Yes. Oh, there's all kinds of justifications, right? Well, human beings are, inherently bad. They just want to seek power. Like we're actually born out of the womb, wanting to cause harm. If anybody has kids, that's not the case. Human beings are 100% programmable species, meaning that the information you put into a child in the formative years will dictate how they function and operate in their later years. So we are programmable. That is the true nature of a human being. And, a big part of my work is conscious parenting, getting parents to understand objective morality, what natural rights are and natural law, so they can educate their children on this, because this is ultimately where it comes down to. How is the majority of people ignorant to the governing dynamics of reality and what their rights are? You have to know what a right is to defend it, right? And we obviously are getting our rights stripped away and violated on a daily basis. That proves that people do not understand their rights. And it all comes down to incorrect parenting. So it's a vicious cycle of mind control. And, it's going to take education and willpower and care to get out of it.
Do you think those put in the power structure are, by the dark occultists, are also mind control victims?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there absolutely.
Like
there
you
are
said,
people.
they're raised up to fill these roles in our society.
Yes. Oh, 100%, 100%. It stems from their childhood, either directly or by de facto, indirectly. They are raised a certain way to want to be, serve my country or be a police officer or be the president or whatever it may be. And yes, there are, mind-controlled operations that people are. We have to understand that the actual people behind the veil, the actual dark occultists that you will never know their names or see them on TV, this is a bloodline. This is a heritage tradition where their children are going to be the next rulers to inherit the condition of this planet. So it's many levels, top down, type of scenario. And yes, some of them are born into this and some of them are just raised incorrectly.
Tell us about natural law. Why is it so hard to understand the basic? It just seems basic, but why is it so hard for the majority of society to understand?
Yeah, great question. So what is natural law? Natural law is the universal, immutable, binding, objective, non-man-made dynamics that provide us the consequence of our free will choices. So I like to let people know, you can look at any facet of society. We'll take just science. And even scientists recognize, they call them constants. Or just constant principles, gravitation, thermodynamics, right? You need to understand the objective, immutable conditions of aviation if you want to fly a plane. It's not based on belief. It's not based on anything like that. You have to know nature. You have to understand the laws of nature if you want to fly a plane. So there's these objective principles that are governing, that are here, that are put here by the creator itself, right? So natural law simply is cause and effect. Through our free will choices, we are going to get our choices the cause, and we are going to manifest the outcome, the conditions through natural law. Natural law is going to organize and bring us the conditions of our free will choices. So when we look at the condition of society, that humanity is enslaved and all, the wars and all of these, all this turmoil and suffering, it is self-induced. Humanity is we're doing it to ourselves because we hold incorrect information. Therefore, we are making incorrect choices. And the effect of that is getting us slavery. It's a very simple, but yet people kind of bring it into the woo category because we're ultimately dealing with unseen forces, and people don't like that. The ego does not like objectivity, right? The ego wants everything to be relative and be be focused on me. That's what the ego wants. So it can be brutal for people to understand, but it's very simple.
If you wanted the war to end, all the soldiers on opposing sides would have to do is stop shooting each other, and then there would be no war. But that just seems so difficult.
Well, that's where it starts. We will know when we see change, when we see military and police start quitting their cults, 100%. I mean, the only reason why these people, they receive the orders and then go out and shoot someone or drop bombs, they are the ones that are morally culpable. They're the ones that are pulling the trigger or pressing the button and dropping the bombs. What is a ruler or a tyrant without supporters? So people are supporting the system itself. They identify with it. So it's
It took me a while to get there, Will. When I first heard the idea of no government, abolish the government, it sounded crazy to me when I first heard it, right? Because obviously I've been raised up in the same system as everybody here. California State public education. And I first heard that idea, and it took me a while. I think the first person I ever heard talk about it was Adam Kokesh. Remember that guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
He ran for president. I forget which cycle, and his whole campaign was abolish the federal government. And at that time, I was like, "This guy's crazy." I was thinking, right? But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, "This guy's right." But it's too big of a concept for the majority to grasp. It feels like, how can we ever get there to where it's self-evident that, this is the way that it needs to be done? Because I mean, it seems self-evident to me now, because you just look around, like you say, the condition we're in is slavery, the death, destruction, and so on is not good. So it seems self-evident to me, but how can we ever get there as a society to where it's self-evident and everyone just says, hey, we can't do this program anymore?
Yeah, it's such a, to the average person, it's such a radical concept because of their programming and conditioning. It truly is a paradigm shift. It shatters their false worldview. But yet, on a day-to-day basis, they are living as an anarchist, meaning that the majority of their day, of every day, is based upon voluntary interaction. They go to the grocery store, they interact with, people in restaurants and in business. Everything is consensual, except obviously if you're getting pulled over because there's a checkpoint or taxes being taken out or you have to fill out some paperwork, or if you're extremely unfortunate and you're just living your life and then bombs are dropped on your whole community. So that is the system. Like, people are already intrinsically, inherently understand that if it's not voluntary interaction, if it's not voluntary or consensual, it's coercion and duress. They understand it in there. They just are all the layers of the programming and conditioning from their youth, and currently all the information that they're taking in promotes that type of mindset. It's extremely hard, and it takes that inner work. It takes time and care to look at oneself and analyze on what you believe and why you believe it. How we're going to get out of this situation is through education. The education of what rights truly are, objective morality, and natural law, how we manifest any given condition. That information is the causal factor that needs to be propagated. More people need to talk about this type of information, because as more people take this information in and apply it to themselves and then change their immoral behavior, now we can start to see a turning of the tides in energy, in consciousness, because we are all in it together. Right? When you start adding up all the individuals and the condition of their behavior and what they are doing, if it's moral or immoral, now you start to get the collective, you get the human condition. So when people start understanding, taxes are immoral, they start opting out of certain systems. They quit their immoral position in government or, military or police. They don't contribute to the system of slavery and violence. Then we will start to see the turning of the tide. As morality increases, freedom increases. As morality decreases, freedom decreases. It's a simple scientific law.
Indeed, Will. Well,
it's going to be a long journey.
It's a long journey. Well, we do our part doing our little shows here, trying to get people to think different. Let's go through some of the comments here now. Let's see. This is a paired. This is from your audience, Sharon Wedgley. Hey, my brother. I'll just put it up there.
Excellent.
I've been following your content for years, Sharon said.
Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate it.
Shannon. Excuse me.
That means a lot. Excellent.
My crazy audience over here, what are they saying? I mean to share information constantly on this stuff with people who have survived their serious sexual abuse.
Yeah. Satanic ritual abuse. That comes in. That's a gradient as well. You know, a lot of people think something like that has to do with the Hollywood version, you know, eyes wide shut type of abuse, but it's that needs to be demystified as well.
Bob is telling us about tools we can use. Have you seen the film, The Jones Plantation?
I absolutely have. I recommend that movie. It's fantastic. It was it's produced by Larkin Rose, or written by Larkin Rose. It's fantastic, and that's a great example of using art to convey a message of objective morality, you know, true freedom, and what that means.
I've interviewed the main character, Legal Man, like twice on this show. Yeah,
excellent.
So yeah, that's a tool to have a viewing party with your friends and family and neighbors, and say, hey, check out this crazy movie. What, you know what I mean? And I remember my first viewing party I had was with What in the World Are They Spraying? Right? When that movie first came out, I was like, I gathered up, I don't know, like 10 or 15 people and had a little party at my house. Said, let's watch this documentary film because I know it sounds crazy, but I think they're spraying something on us over here with these chemtrails, right? And then people watched that, couldn't believe it, thought I was crazy, but then slowly started believing, oh yeah, they are actually spraying us. I believe that they're doing something. Trump is, when they shut, or Bobby Kennedy or any of these people, when they shut down the chemtrail program, the geoengineering aerosol injection program, when they shut that down, then I'll believe they're actually doing something for us.
We'll see. You know, I see so many people putting their faith into someone like Trump or RFK. I mean, it's mind-blowing. When RFK was at the Senate hearing, he said, I'm going to restore trust in the government, and that will increase needlecraft uptake. It's like, there are no saviors. It's up to us individually to change the tide. And it's just mind-blowing that people...
That's a continuing theme that we see, Will.
Yes.
Where Bobby Kennedy said, restore trust. The World Economic Forum says, why? We should never trust you guys ever. Look at what all you've done here now. And you're even admitting that we need to restore trust. Well, hell no. Yeah. Hell no, we don't trust you guys. Look at what all you've done, especially over forever, but especially the last 5 years here now, in everybody's face, undeniable tyranny that they bestowed upon us here. And so, hell no, we're never going to trust you again. But I have fears that, like you say, well, our guy, Bobby Kennedy, whoever, Trump, whoever gets in there, and we could trust him, right? He's doing the right thing. He's going after the government here and there and taking my enemies out. And so now I do trust the government again. No. You should never, ever trust the government, ever. No matter if they put Jesus Christ in there, don't trust the government. I don't think Jesus Christ would serve the government. That's his whole thing, right? This is why the government killed him.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, he was killed by his day, the government and the financial institution, for sure. So I get fallacious claims. I still get, oh, well, without government, who will build the roads? It's like, are you in California? Have you driven down these roads? Like, it's all It's just, again, like I was saying, it's a paradigm shift. It's so out there. When people talk about these type of concepts, we have to simplify it and bring it way down to the basics, almost like we're speaking to, like 9, 10-year-olds, because that's how deep the conditioning and the mind control goes, for sure.
The public school system.
Yes.
Trump did say they're looking at getting rid of the Federal Department of Education. They're looking at these different kind of schooling programs. So maybe that could be a step in the positive direction.
Yeah, I think something like that, sure, that's a win. That's a win on the books. But I'll tell you what, I don't have my kid in public school. I homeschool my kid. I unschool my kid. I am making the conscious choice not to eat chemicals, needlecraft. So that kind of stuff doesn't directly affect me, but I am not dependent on those systems for me to make a healthy moral choice.
But the large majority of the people that we're trying to get to, that we need to make this big shift in consciousness, are dependent on those systems, and that seems to be the problem.
Exactly. They need to wait till Big Daddy government says it's okay, and every 4 years it's going to be different, and all of these promises and stuff like that. People are outsourcing their own power, and it's time to take it back.
I had some coffee on my nose. Let's see. Ruckus says, good show, good guest. Well, thank you, Ruckus.
Appreciate that, brother.
Some more comments here. Legal man didn't talk to everybody. Don't talk to everybody either. I'm grateful to be in his circle. Well, don't make legal man mad. No, legal man's awesome on the X. I love his takes. Let's see. Musk doesn't need money. What's his motivation? His intentions must be good. Of course, he's saying it. Well, his intentions, Ruckus, is to be the technocratic ruler. His intentions. Straight out of Jones Plantation. All right, Will, we're at an hour and a half. Let's go over to the other channels. That's everybody's comments I can see on the old YouTube. Let's go to our other channel, see if we got any other comments. BitChute, of course, we can't get BitChute. Someday, some way, we'll have a live chat feature there, but we are streaming on BitChute, and thank you to everybody for tuning in on the BitChute. The Rumble, there's always a lively chat there. Our same regulars, it seems, here. Share. You guys share. See that annoying scroll along the bottom? Please share. Maybe somebody will catch on besides my shadow banned accounts here.
That goes a long ways. People just sharing shows or sharing, links, that kind of stuff. It's needed.
It is needed because I know I'm shadow banned and throttled and all this stuff. I was literally banned off the internet at one point during the medical intervention period, except for like BitChute and Odyssey, honestly, every place, and X, because I spoke in code for like 2.5 years or something. Like we have to speak in code now on YouTube still. But thank you guys for tuning in on the Rumble. See, they're giving me false numbers because our co-producers here they tune in on all the channels, but I do appreciate it. Barry, Ruckus, Karen, Carrie, over there in the Rumble chat. I do see a lot more people. I guess they don't feel up to chatting. They're just listening here now. Who else did I see? Another person sneak in there. Let's see. Carrie says, Palestinians have land since thousands of years. Make UK and America pay the rebuild, pay for the rebuild. Yeah, well, maybe.
We got to they got to stop dropping bombs first, right? It's a stepwise progression.
She says, throw a shoe at Trump. remember that the Iraqi journalist threw a shoe at Bush? Remember that?
That's right.
Just incredible what he's just, oh yeah, it's all for their own good. You know, they're going to get killed there anyway, living in a pile of rubble. So yeah, we have to move them off that land. As we continue to report here, part of the greater Aardvark land project to steal all that land, essentially. Maybe they're not going to kill everybody. The problem is they can't figure out how to get rid of all the bodies. Or else, I believe they would do the same final solution as the old as their best friends there from Germany World War II.
It's tragic.
If they thought they could get away with it, they certainly would. As we're seeing, they certainly don't care. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Rumble. The Rock fan, Gene, Barry, John. Thank you, John, for tuning in over there. All government is a legal fiction scam, Barry says. What about that rabbit hole, Will, about the whole corporate legal fiction?
Yeah, it is definitely a rabbit hole, and there's definitely some validity there, right? Because that whole system, the legality, that legalese is a man-made system. So I want people to go beyond that and understand that that is a man-made system, and it's based on violence, duress, and coercion. It has no legitimacy in nature, in the real world. And, you know, but still, I mean, there's value there, understanding legalese and going down that rabbit hole. You know, we all can be violated and drug into court. So understanding how to operate in that kind of realm, I think, is important. So, yeah, there's value there. But ultimately, that system itself is just a mental construct based on immorality.
Well said. Here's a paired one of your viewers, Christine Buckley, just tuned in for a few minutes ago. I will have to watch from the beginning tomorrow. Sending love and gratitude. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Christine.
Hit the like. Yeah, hit the like button. I don't know what good that does, but hit the like button. Oh, by the way, Will, my campaign, and I didn't even plug it. We've been commercial free here now. So at the end, we're going to plug some, give Will some donations, give me some donations. But really, my campaign is trying to be monetized on YouTube for whatever it's worth, making my YouTube comeback here after I was banned for cyberbullying the World Health Organization. Now I'll probably be banned for criticizing Google's changing of their AI policies to now include weapons use. So I'm sure I'll get that email soon, but the thresholds on the YouTube are you have to reach 500 subscribers and 3,000 hours watched in 365 days, and we're almost there. I'm at 494 subscribers, and I need about another, 700 hours watched in about 150 days. And so trying to get monetized on the YouTube for whatever that's worth. Actually, yesterday's show, I think the thumbnail does have a big effect. I put up just the picture of Musk and Trump and Bibi, and that gets people to click because I know that a lot of people don't like them, and it triggers them, and they click. And what's this about? Mm-hmm. But you do very, very good, very nice thumbnails. I've seen that you put out for co-producing a lot of shows. Will,
yeah, absolutely,
very, very talented with your graphic design work.
Appreciate that.
Great show. I came late. I didn't get your name's guest, Bob said. Let's see. Let me put that up on the screen for you. His name is Will Keller, and it's the best place to go to find your work and follow you, willkeller.com.
Yep, that's my central hub for all my content. Get to my podcast, all my presentations, and my upcoming events and interviews.
We'll put it up on the screen right here. It's a very nice website. Very nice. willkeller.com.
Thank you.
There you go. Start your trip into objective morality here.
Many very topics on there that I cover: metaphysics, philosophy, solutions, of course.
There it is. Very nice website indeed. What does this symbol mean at the top?
That symbol has the triangle, which the triangle is the most stable structure. It also represents the three aspects of consciousness, thought, emotion, and action. Also represents the trivium, process of truth discovery and critical thinking, grammar, logic, rhetoric. The arrow just represents the progress forward. Also represents kind of a spear or an axe, which in Egyptian hieroglyphics or even Norse mythology that represented the higher force of natural law. So it's kind of a symbol that I created myself. And then the circle, obviously, the circle representing the all-encompassing universe and how we're all interconnected.
Wow, that's pretty awesome, man. That's pretty awesome. Okay, any more chats there? Let's see. Yeah, Barry's always reminding me to, because I blast through so much information. He's always, thank you, Barry. He's reminding me to plug my campaign to try to become monetized on YouTube. So yeah, we're almost there, Barry. 6 subscribers away. We're at 494 right now. And so for those watching on other channels, jump over to YouTube, Weaponized News, and give us that subscription. Truly appreciate it.
Definitely.
I've been doing it. Well, I had a co-host for about over a year, and we did most weeks, 6 days a week of hard news. And then he fell ill recently, about 2 weeks ago. And so his name's Simon. And so we will miss Simon, and we pray for him for his recovery. But now I've just been doing it myself, and thankfully had you on. And some days I'm trying to bring back because before I had a regular co-host, I would try to do. That's why I haven't had you on in a while, Will. So thank you for coming back on with us. I think that's all the comments that we got on the channels. But if you're on another channel, please go over to our YouTube and help us. We're only 6 away here now until we get banned on YouTube again. And then we can move on to the next campaign. Okay, any other things to plug? How do people donate to you? What do you want to plug for yourself and your efforts here, Will?
Excellent. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, anyone on my side that's watching, subscribe to Weaponized News. Sam, you've been doing it for a long time. So I remember when we were John and I were actively doing the Natural Freedom League podcast, and we had you on as a guest. And you got us our first strike on YouTube, so that's a nice badge of honor.
No, I'm sorry. Did I?
No, it was about the stuff we were talking about, and that was during the
medical intervention period. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah,
I think we didn't even know then, though, right? They was just like
it was fresh still.
YouTube was free at one point, and people can remember that. And you used to be able to say whatever, and then you couldn't call for violence and stuff like this, and we wouldn't. But we were just talking about what's going on. Hey, there's big tyranny going on here in California, and all this stuff wrong. And then all of a sudden, YouTube said, "Nope, that's you're against our WHO. You're cyberbullying the World Health Organization, right?" And so it's like, what? Where did this come from? And then obviously we all lived through the last 5 years of the agenda. And so I do apologize, but I honestly did not know.
Oh, it's totally fine.
About YouTube and what their community guidelines policies were. They're very shadowy and gray about it, and they literally just make up whatever they want as you go. And so they may talk about natural laws offensive to some groups, and now that is retroactively striked at some point. Who knows?
You're offending our sponsors.
You're offending our sensibilities. YouTube has essentially they're trying to, but I don't think it's working out for them. Trying to be like cable for the internet, with the subscriptions and like live stream of sporting events and whatnot. I don't know how well that's going for them. I don't know anybody, honestly, that pays for a YouTube subscription, but maybe, I don't know. That's their excuse of why they have to censor, but I think they should be able to target advertising better to the audience for your show and not have to censor people at all, instead of put that little stupid Wikipedia. And Wikipedia is bunk, man. That's bunk. They can go in there and change that, but they put, if you talk about certain topics, I don't know if you've seen that on videos, they put that little block at the bottom, Wikipedia link, and that's like the authoritative source. Oh, BS, man. When I went to university, I remember all my college professors said, you'll get an F on a paper if you cite anything from Wikipedia, because it's garbage, right? And I was like,
a joke.
That always stuck with me. I was like, nothing's changed. It's even got worse since then. You know what I mean? So Wikipedia is not an authoritative source on anything, as they try to represent it on YouTube and other parts of the internet. Sorry to go off on that tangent, but
that's all right.
Wikipedia just pisses me off, man, with the way they act like their authoritative source.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we play any other plugging that you want to do here, Will?
Yeah, I would like to talk about a big event that we have coming up. Myself and the co-creators of the Funnel Conference, we're doing the 4th annual Freedom Under Natural Law Conference. That's coming up at the end of this month, February 22nd and 23rd. It's a 2-day online free conference. We have 16 presenters that are gonna, present some valuable information.
When is it again? Tell me the date again.
It's February 22nd and 23rd. So Saturday and Sunday, we're going to go about 8-9 hours each day. We do a live roundtable with some of the presenters at the end of each day, so we can have engagement and take questions. It's really fun. This is the 4th one that we've done, and we've got a really good response. We got some great presenters and music and all different types of creative expressions. So it's going to be fantastic. People can see the presenter list and the details at freedomundernaturallaw.com, or you could just go to my website, willkeller.com, and there's a tab that has the details on there as well.
Which tab is it? Let me throw that up on the screen for everybody.
Yeah, it should be a Funnel Conference. If you have the drop down on the more. There it is.
Funnel Conference. There we go.
Yeah, that's the flyer.
Awesome.
And it's also has the link right to the website. So I'll give a shout out to the other organizers that have been working tirelessly to, do the website and communicate with the presenters. So we have a nice, smooth event.
Free of charge, huh?
Free of charge, absolutely. Of course, anybody that wants to support and donate, a lot of the funding comes out of our own pockets. So, donations are appreciative as well. But absolutely free to the public. Streaming to, I think we're going to do 7 or 8 platforms, and including the website itself.
That is awesome. I'm going to check it out for sure. And you say 8 hours per day or even longer. That's an epic broadcast going on there.
Oh, yeah. And we started it, during the lockdown time and couldn't do an in-person event. So we decided to go virtual, had a really good response, and just been doing that ever since. So we're mimicking what an actual conference would be like. So there's breaks, an intermission, presenters, music, and then a live discussion at the end with the presenters themselves.
That is awesome. And you're not just giving your time, effort, energy, knowledge. This stuff does cost money. And we did have a fundraising drive at the end of last year to pay for the Restream software, to be on 8 different channels, to pay for the different subscriptions that we have to pay for to bring you this information in these shows. And so all that, as you know, being independent, most of it comes out of your own pocket. And
yes,
and thankfully, hopefully, you have a loyal and generous enough audience that you're providing content that they feel valuable enough they want to help support monetarily. But hopefully, you can raise some good funding out of this and help offset some of your costs. And that's not even talking about, like I said, paying for your invaluable knowledge that you're bestowing upon the public here as well.
Yeah, the truth is not popular, and anything popular usually isn't truthful. So it's a tough reality to be in. Regardless, I'm going to keep speaking the truth. And it's, it's very gracious when, people support, my efforts, your efforts, and people should, right? It should be valued. So, yeah.
I had a, what did they say? They said something like that. The truth is not popular. Something like what you said. What's the name? Clint Richardson. He's an old school truther kind of guy doing deep dives before a lot of people were on the internet, and he had a radio show and all this stuff. And he said something like that. I was like, he's like, there's no money in the truth. Nobody wants to pay for the truth. People just take it for granted that, oh yeah, or the majority don't even want to hear it. But then a lot of, but not our audience. Our audience has honestly been very generous, and I truly do appreciate it. And every time we've done a campaign, we've raised funds, and so we do truly appreciate it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and
beautiful.
Everybody go on the 20, starting on this month. So it's like what, 3 weeks away here now.
Yeah, little, 2.5.
2.5 weeks away. February 22nd, 2025. Funnel for Humanity Rising, free online, and go to I'll see some links and post it once you guys start promoting it more. Oh, here's your let's promote it right now a little bit. Here's the flyers. Here's the flyers for it, all these different speakers.
Oh, that's the that was the previous funnel conference. One. If you go up to the flyer, right there, it should be a link associated with that flyer.
Where do I click?
Oh, maybe I forgot to put that link on there. It's the direct website is freedomundernaturallaw.com. And there should be a link.
Let's see. Let me search that real quick. Freedom under natural law.com.
Yeah, that'll have all the presenters on there.
4th conference. There we go.
Excellent. Yep, that's it.
Featured presenters. There we go. A lot of people. You want to talk about the great, what is it? The One Great Work Network? One Great Work Network.
There it is. Yep, that was my profile on the One Great Work Network. That is a that's a hub, a network of over 75 content creators. This was created and is hosted by Mark Passio of What on Earth is Happening. And it's fantastic. There's a 24-hour live player. All of these content creators obviously understand natural law, the occult, objective morality, and anarchism, and they all have their own different styles and flavors. So there's something on there for everyone, and you can go on there and check out articles and videos. There's even live shows. The schedule is up at the top, and it's pretty much just like a conglomerate of like-minded content creators spreading the good message of true freedom and natural law.
Streaming 24/7 on there, huh?
Yep, that's right.
Here's all the people that are going to be at this conference. Our mission, wow, to serve and protect and respect nature and all forms of life. And it goes on. Yeah, the donations. Everybody needs donations in this game, unless you're, like you said, your advertisers are not going to be happy with what you're saying. So.
Yeah, not much sponsorship for people speaking the truth. So yeah, donations are always kindly accepted.
Awesome. Well, anything else?
It's always a pleasure to come on here and chat with you, Sam. Thank you to your audience and to audience from my side that tuned in. And yeah, I hope you get those 6 subscribers. Let's get them in today and move on to the next campaign.
Another part of the campaign to tell your audience, if they we got Barry as our hardcore producer. He's going to create another account, he says, and go and give us but the other part of the campaign, just to let your audience know, if they're interested in such things, academically. We've created along with my co-host who's ill now, Simon. We created 12 documentaries, and so you can go to the bottom here of the YouTube Weaponized News channel, scroll to the bottom, and here's 12 documentaries from the primary source documents about the new world order from the Russian and Chinese perspectives, about the new nuclear doctrine from Russia and the new nuclear doctrine from the United States. We have a documentary about BRICS there, about the genocide from the UN documenting it, and 12 and a bunch more about the new world order, the new era that we're going into. And you can get educated up about these topics, or just simply push play, mute, and walk away and let that playlist play, and let us rack up these viewing hours to reach these thresholds, and it would be truly appreciated.
Excellent. That's great.
All right. So yeah, we tried to make it easy and reach these thresholds through the censorship, throttling, and general dislike out there on the interwebs. But
especially with all the platforms claiming to be, you know, non-censorship now, right? But there's always terms and conditions that come with that.
I could even abide by whatever terms and conditions there are. It's just they're always changing them and just making up and selectively enforcing it. And why do and like you said, whoever they're promoting, we have to question, why does this guy, whoever it may be, have 1 million followers, but yet I'm pumping out info every freaking day, just as hardcore, just as good, but I can't get past 10,000. You know what I'm saying? So what is going on? They're that much better looking than me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on here? Something's behind that. How do they know how to tweak the algorithm to get constantly promoted? What is going on here? And those of us who are content creators can see that. And I have to always question in the back of my mind, are they that much better than me? I don't think so. You know what I mean? Why is I put out, I don't know, thousands upon thousands of videos and none. But see, I remember back to when YouTube was organic and you could organically go viral. And I had many, many videos go organically viral, but it just can't. All the platforms, all the big ones, right? Facebook, YouTube, X, and then the other ones, I don't even know how they work. Definitely not like old YouTube. You can't go organically viral anymore. They put a lockdown on it, and it's just not going to happen. You have to actively seek out the information. You're not going to just randomly run across it anymore like you used to be able to.
That's right. That's all I really would like to see is just an organic algorithm. But, you know, I mean, you have to, being a content creator, trying to, you know, publish content and get it out there, you have to understand kind of the marketing aspect and how these algorithms operate. So like you mentioned earlier, having a nice title card actually does help. Pressing like on a video actually does communicate to the algorithm. So there's kind of these hidden techniques that can kind of aid in exposure. And, you know, the algorithms are absolutely against content like ours, for sure. Unfortunately.
All right. Well, we're at the 2-hour mark here. Thank you very much again. And we'll have to bring some people on from your network and you again a lot sooner than later to continue on preaching the good word here.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thanks, Sam, for having me on.
Thank you, Will. We're going to play out here with Ethnic Cleansing. I listened to a couple minutes of it. It's kind of like reggae style, but I thought in honor of Trump saying the United States is going to take over the freaking Gaza Strip, the craziest thing I've ever heard. Will it actually happen? I don't know, but he's saying it at a press conference in front of God and the whole world. So it may very well happen. how any of it's legal, right? Where's Congress? Well, as we continue to cover, the majority of Congress is paid off by AIPAC, amongst other lobbying groups. So I don't think they're going to put up much opposition, but I think the people of the United States should, and say, hey, this is not our war. This is none of our business, honestly. We got enough problems here than to worry about the borders over there in Aardvark land and what they're doing with their people. And it's a horrific situation. So anyway, here's ethnic cleansing to play us out. And as always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and liberty, and have a great rest of your Tuesday evening. We'll be back here tomorrow on Weaponized News, and hopefully we can, we'll play some clips from Barry that he's been sending me and wanting to play to wrap it up at least. And I do have some of these older, and I know Ruckus likes them, and I do too, some of these older clips of truth that are buried out there still, surprisingly, on the interwebs. And so we'll play some of these old reports that do tell a lot of truth in what they're saying. But here is Ethnic Cleansing by Yemi Bolo. Never even heard of them until I searched Ethnic Cleansing. I was like, it's halfway decent. It's reggae, like I said, so it's listenable, because there's a lot of ethnic cleansing death metal, and I'm just like, I can't, that's just too hard, and you can't even hear it. It's just
a little rough around the edges. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, and I will tag you on the X because I usually we live streamed it, and then I'm going to repost it afterwards, and then probably pull a couple clips out and post it. So I'll tag you on the X there.
Great.
And
I'll share.
And on the Facebook, we are on the Facebook as well, for whatever that's worth. So I will post it there again as well and tag you and spread it around, and appreciate your audience and ours. And we'll see you guys back here tomorrow.
Excellent. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Crucial times of the iron-handed rulers. He sits on the throne and lives and rules forever. Divide and rule, the wicked man will conquer. So many youths gone astray, so many youths got tortured. War one in the Middle East, telling the leaders say war for cease. Another crime against humanity, killing the babies and their families. They call it cleansing, they call it ethnic cleansing. When it's children they are killing, and poor people are the victims. Cleansing, they call it ethnic cleansing. When it's children they are killing, and poor people are the victims. Jah is my light and salvation. Say he's the ruler of all nations. Babylon keep building their bombs to kill the generation. More wickedness and destruction, cause every day a new extermination. The hate and retaliation means war and confusion. War and confusion. Cleansing, they call it ethnic cleansing. When it's children they are killing, and poor people are the victims. Lord knows. Cleansing, they call it ethnic cleansing. When it's children they are killing, and poor people are the victims. Jah is my light and my savior. Keep me safe from all
Uh,